Hi everyone, Aaron here for Zollotech, and today Apple released iOS 12.2 Developer Beta 3. This is out for developers and soon to public beta testers. It may be out by the time you're watching this video, but usually it comes out later the same day or the following day. Now it came in at 399.4 megabytes for me on my XS Max, and similarly it was about the same size on all of these devices as well. Now the first thing they've fixed is the actual lock screen, and if we go back to the lock screen, we now have the date back, and so the date is showing instead of the charge level, which is nice, and that's still here. And then another thing, Face ID seems to be a little bit quicker. More people have been commenting about this and saying that they notice a difference in places I've checked. If we turn it back on, you'll see it's nice and fast. So that's good. I didn't really notice it right away, so it may or may not be quicker. It's hard to say. Now they did change the About page, and that's why we didn't take a look at the build number right away. So this has been updated. If you go to General and then About, it's in a new order and information is displayed differently. So you'll see there's the name I chose. Here's the software version, and in order to see the build number, you actually have to tap on it. So it says 16E5201E is this build. It also gives the model name, which is new as well. So that's really nice. We've got more relevant information right at the top and specific to the actual model of the device. Now this holds true to the iPad as well. All of that information's right at the top, so that part's really nice, and it gives you the actual device type, so we don't have to guess anymore. It will say iPhone 7 or 5S or whatever it is. Now they've re-enabled Group FaceTime for this beta, and that's nice because it wasn't enabled in beta 2, so you'll be able to use Group FaceTime. If you use FaceTime a lot like I do, you'll have that option again. Also, they've made a change to the Apple TV remote. So if we go to the remote here, it has to be the remote in the control center. We go here, they've changed the way it looks again. So they've completely redesigned this, and it also kind of hints at a dark theme. You'll see it's kind of a dark mode here, and maybe that's part of what dark mode will look like in the future, but there is no dark mode just yet. Now, another thing they've changed is Apple News. They've made a couple little tweaks to it. Let's go into Apple News. And you'll see here at the top, it shows an apple with news. And then let me go into one of my stories here. And another thing they've changed is there's now a next button at the bottom. So you can go from next to next to next. So they've updated that as well. Now they've also made a change or an update to the Wallet app. So let me go into that. So within Wallet, we have some changes. You'll see there's 3 dots in the upper right now. It's more consistent with the UI here. So we'll tap on these and you'll see we have our information, and then we've got the back button here. So we can go back. So they've just updated all of that so it looks a little bit more consistent. Now there's something that you can't see but is available to developers, and that has to do with the App Store. So in the App Store, if maybe you're using an application that you have a subscription to, the actual developer can offer introductory offers now with lower prices with auto-renewable subscriptions. So you'll be able to provide that, or discounted prices or specific durations for those discounted prices. So it's nice that they'll have that option, and maybe that has to do with the News app and having subscriptions possibly in an update with iOS 12.2 when it releases to the public, and possibly when we see an event probably in March here. So it looks like that may hint at that. Now, under your settings, there's also new modem firmware and new carrier updates. So if you find those under settings, you'll see the numbers have changed, and hopefully that means they've resolved the issues with LTE and Wi-Fi. I've actually not had too many issues with Beta 2 on these devices, but for some people, they've had a lot of issues, and I know that it's been a pain. On my XR, I actually have had that happen a couple times where it would disconnect, and then I'd have to turn on airplane mode, turn it back off, and it would fix it. So that part's been resolved, hopefully, and we'll have to see in the next couple of days whether or not it works better. Now there's 1 known issue and 4 resolved issues. The known issue is you might be unable to authenticate within the Wallet app after selecting a card. There is a workaround for this. It's basically try it again, but there is a workaround. And then the resolved items, the first one was that lock screen bug, so that's been resolved. And then also photos shared using the sharing suggestions now loads correctly. Also Siri now works with the iOS simulator. And they also resolved an issue with prepaid data plan purchases while using cellular data. So all of those things have been resolved. And that's really nice to see. Now, as far as battery life, iOS 12.2 Beta 2, battery was actually pretty good for me. Battery health is still at 100% for this phone. And you'll see over the last 10 days, that was the best. And that was with about 30 or 40% battery life left. I had 4 hours and 48 minutes of screen on time. 7 to 8 is about right for this device. Some people get more, some people get a little less, depending on what you're doing. But in general, that's pretty good, and I think people would be happier with that. Many people are saying 12.1.4 is not so great. Speed so far on all the devices, including the oldest one here, seems to be good. Swiping and everything is good. Opening apps. I'm not going to go into all the devices or different applications. My 6S is the same thing. You've still got the rotation that works fine. Everything's working well. 3D Touch. Well, that doesn't have 3D Touch set up. 3D Touch is nice and fast on all of the different apps. And then also the Geekbench scores. Let's take a look at those. Now, I ran Geekbench on my 10S Max. You'll see the single core came in at 4,818. The multi-core came in at 11,157. This is an improvement over the previous one. If we take a look here, you'll see it's improved quite a bit. So they've fixed whatever issues were there, although this is not a true indication necessarily of whether or not it's much faster. But overall, it feels nice and fast and smooth, and it looks like they only have that one little bug to fix before they have the final version. But I wouldn't expect the final version until probably March, where we'll probably have an event where they'll show some software. Supposedly, it doesn't look like we're going to have any new hardware, but it's hard to say. Maybe it supports AirPods 2 and AirPower and all of those things, and hopefully we'll see those. So those are all the major changes. Hopefully we'll find some more here and there, but let me know if you found any in the comments below. And of course, I'll link this wallpaper in the description. This one was made exclusively for the channel, again by Evgeny Zemelko, so I'll link that in the description as well. If you haven't subscribed already though, please subscribe. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. As always, thanks for watching. This is Aaron. I'll see you next time.